the third boxing movie in a year now that I've seen. It could even be the fourth. And I don't think it's the last. We're gonna keep getting boxing movies left and right, unfortunately. Until the day we die, and it's just gonna keep happening because people think they can make a good movie out of a boxing movie. It's so easy to make redemption arcs and have so many decent to good side stories alongside your cast. Um, Unfortunately, I don't think Undercard does such a fantastic job at this. I was tempted to not do a full review on this movie, but I really wanted to, because I haven't done a review in a while on a smaller movie. Most of my reviews recently have been like bigger ones like Scream and Wuthering Heights and Goat, and I haven't done a movie, as small as Undercard. And I'm not really regretting this. This was a pretty shit movie, to be honest. And as time goes on throughout the year, this could end up being a 3 out of 10 for me instead of a 4 out of 10. But for now, there was just so much stuff I enjoyed with Wanda Skies, and she kind of carries the movie a lot to the point where it makes me like it. I think she just does such a fantastic job, and it's such a shame we don't get a lot of her. I think the last time I saw her, if you don't count the SpongeBob movie she was in a couple years ago, was Ice Age 4. Was that the last Ice Age movie? And that was over a decade ago, I believe. So it's a shame we don't get a lot of Wanda Skies, and when we do, it's usually animated. But I think she was pretty damn good in this role in this movie. I think she was, the shining star out of everyone. I don't think anyone did too horrendous of a job acting wise. I think most of these people being um, amateur or fresh actors or very young actors on the scene did as good as they possibly can with what they were given. But the script is so horrible, it kind of makes everyone feel completely amateur. It's really unfortunate. I'm not sure. I think the acting out of the some of the fighters like Keith and Quick, I think they do a fine job. We don't get a lot of them, but I think when they're on screen they don't do horrible, but the writing is just so damn awful that they I could see people confusing them for doing such a horrible job. A lot of the story goes by way too quick. Funnily enough, with the name, you have this lesbian side plot with Wanda Skies and her new tattoo artist lover, and I wish we got them more fledged out. This movie is an hour 45, and yet it feels like it goes by so quick, and we don't get anything fleshed out. You have the relationship with Wanda and her partner. We don't get any of that, and it even gets pushed off to the side for like the last 40 minutes of the movie because they have an argument that sucked. You have Wanda and her niece with the CPS, and that feels like it just comes and goes. It almost feels like it leaves the story entirely, completely halfway through the movie. She gets the new house, and then nothing else happens after that. We don't see the agent in any other point throughout the movie or anything of that sort. Uh, you have the Hector guy who was known for, ditching his fighters and going to the casino and training with other fighters instead of his main fighters. He doesn't do any of that past the point of when they tell you that he does this stuff. And they even show him going to a casino. He doesn't do that at any point past the halfway mark through the movie. He just instantly becomes like one of the best trainers in their town, in their city, or in their state. I don't know how that happened. They don't explain any of that. They don't explain how his shit gets like put together and he finally becomes a new better trainer. In the final fight, you expect him not to be there, but he's there and the person he's been training has only lost one out of his past like 26 fights, which 23 of them were knockouts. Like what's going on here? It feels like nothing was we didn't earn any of the character development in this movie. It just kind of happens. Um, Even with Wanda Sky's son, Keith. I think that's his name, right? Keith. Their relationship is so butchered, and then it feels like it's not gonna come back, and then randomly at some point in the story, just flip. We're back. We love each other, and we're gonna do this together. I don't know. I'm not sure. But out of the writing, which is absolutely horrendous, and I think the storyboarding and the storytelling is just so poor, and clearly there's something very good here with the story. They just didn't do a good job at all with it, and we don't get a lot of fights, and when we do get fights, it's shot very horribly, which I'll get into in a bit. But like, if you're gonna do so many different side plots, like with Bubba T, Juan Disguise's niece, Juan Disguise's new partner, Keith, Quick, Hector, Fox, like all these things, make the movie longer, or maybe cut out half of that shit because we it's either flush it out or don't give us it at all. That's how it should be. It just didn't feel like any of the story was deserved to the audience. But technically, this movie is also pretty shit. Camera work is absolutely horrible. The editing is absolutely horrible. The fight scenes are, I think they're actually not too bad, but the camera work and the editing of this movie is just so horrendous that you can't tell that it's a good fight scene, especially the whole final fight section. It's so long. And, with these movies, you don't get long fight scenes, or especially for the final ones. Usually these ones are pretty brushed by pretty quick. A couple punches, you get a few bits and pieces throughout the rounds, and then the fight's over. But this one you get like the whole fucking undercard fight, and then you just can't tell what's happening. There's just too many zoomed in shots. The blocking on the camera work is just absolutely horrendous. Sometimes a guy will be in frame and he's getting hit, and you can tell he's getting hit. I don't know. The camera work throughout this entire movie is just absolutely hideous. And even outside of the fighting scenes, you have so many weird camera movements and editing that just it's so unnatural, and it hurts your eyes when you're watching it. Now that I'm talking about it more, this movie has to be lower than a 4 out of 10. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. This has to be a 3 out of 10. One, Disguise, you did so great, but the more I'm talking, this movie really does suck. Uh, every like 2 minutes, and this seems to be a really common problem with these lower budget movies they have put into theaters. Uh, there is a random song that plays. I don't know why this keeps happening. I don't know why this trend started or when this trend started. I know this was a long time ago. This happened. Why does every low budget movie need to have 200 songs play throughout the movie? I mean, I think for the first 30 minutes of this movie, there's probably a pop song, a rap song, some fucking song playing. There's just no silence. There's nothing. There has to be music playing. I remember there was a scene where Cake by the Ocean is like lightly playing in the background, and then boom, rap music. And then immediately after that rap music ends, it was another pop song. And then after the pop song ends, it was another pop song, and then another rap song, and then the music just never fucking stopped. And I love needle drops in music. I love when music is used properly in movies. I think, sound is just such an important thing in film. It's just so jarring when every fucking 5 seconds in this movie there's something playing in your ears that you don't want to hear. There's so many weird montagey moments in this movie, and I think they only did that to put in all these shitty ass songs. It was so annoying. I don't, I just don't like it. I do not like it. I love needle drops, and I even love movies that fill up the entire movie with music. And these lower budget movies just don't know how to do it right, and they need to look at these bigger budget movies and be like, that's how we use music. This is how we use music to reflect on the story. This is how we use music to reflect on the scene. Instead, it just feels like they shove music in just to shove it in for fun's sake, and then waste like whatever money they use to get the song rights into the movie. Ugh. You know, I was really excited for Underdog or Underdog. I was really excited for Undercard, especially with Wanda Skies, and I don't think I've ever seen her in a live action role to my knowledge. And while I do think she killed it, there's just so many problems with this movie that can't be, pushed to the side. Acting, I think from everyone actually isn't too bad, but the story is just so horrible, jumps all over the place. You don't get anything out of, any of the side plots. Visually, this movie is pretty fucking horrible. You have so many transition shots in this movie which try to make it seem a lot prettier than it actually is. I don't know what I was thinking giving this a 4 out of 10. I'm really, really silly, aren't I? this will be beautiful on Wednesday when I do my good, bad, and ugly. But if you haven't seen Undercard and you do like boxing, I think you should check it out. I think it's still a fun time if you're a fan of boxing. I really tried my hardest to enjoy this movie, and while I did think coming out of it I had a good time, the more I think about this, the worse it gets. It just gets worse and worse and worse. So I'll see you tomorrow for whatever other video I have. I just wanted to, do one of these old-fashioned Mateo reviews that I haven't done in a while on smaller movies, and I want to return to doing it, but I just don't have the heart to for like a movie like Underdog and everything else. But we'll see moving forward what I do end up doing. Wanda Skies, shout out you, but otherwise, this movie was pretty damn dog shit.